Good morning, good morning. This is Spirit Journey, and yes, it's early morning. It is now 3:55 a.m. Tuesday, October 29th, 2019. I've been up since about 2 o'clock. I'm doing some real thinking right now. You know, life is really about these hills, the ups and downs. I was just watching a YouTuber who is also going through a transformation, her own personal spiritual journey. She was involved with organized religion, but she was of a different different faith system than myself. I mean, more occultic. No, I don't want. No, that's the wrong word. But cult like. They're very infamous. I'm not going to give the name of the religion. Maybe I should. She was a Jehovah Witness. Yeah, let me just say it. So we all on the same page. And for those people who are still Jehovah Witnesses, if that religion serves you, you serve it. If it doesn't serve you, then serve something that does. Again, yeah, this video won't be about Jehovah Witnesses, but I just felt it was necessary to mention what this person was. And in her spiritual journey, she shared about an experience she had. So I'm sure now, I mean, it's a time for revelation. Yeah, it's a time for revelation. And I hope I'm able to remember everything that I want to talk about. But yeah, I think she said she was, no, she wasn't meditating, but she's like in thought, and she's in her kitchen, and she's opening up something in the kitchen, and as she opens up something, she saw an image of herself. She saw herself in front of herself. And the person looked a little younger than her current age. And she was like, what? Now you guys, like, remember, it was some videos ago, I too shared that I had a vision of seeing myself. So why I'm sharing this, like, I'm wondering, is there's something about the Matrix, as this YouTuber was saying, that, hey, maybe it was a glitch in the Matrix. You know, something's going on. See, I share what I share in hopes that, you know, we start sharing information, and so to let other people know, and that what's happening it's not just happening to me, but it's also could be happening to people who are watching our videos. So it's to let you know, you're not alone. If you feel something is happening and you're not sharing it, I mean, yes, be careful who you share with. But what if you find out that, hey, this is a phenomenon that is happening? And maybe this whole life is really a matrix, like the movie The Matrix that came out in 1999. It's very bizarre. But yeah, the first time I saw myself. I was in a standard meditation. I was in my living room, and I was sitting or reclining, and then I saw myself from behind, and like I'm watching a TV screen, and again my eyes are closed, and it's three pretty was it I forget whether it was flat or 3D. I think it was more flat, like I'm watching a TV screen, and that I saw myself by my coffee table with my iPad, and I was, when you swipe, you put your hand on the screen and you're swiping, and I saw myself looking intently at it and just scrolling through it. Yeah, it's for a couple of seconds, but I saw myself. I did. And then the other time, um, I saw myself, it was like on a weekend, and I was lying in bed. I was very, 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 very tired. I was mentally and physically tired. It was like dreary looking outside, like really cloudy, real overcast. And so my bedroom, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I didn't get out of bed at that time. And I was just, I didn't have anything really to do, so I was just relaxing. And I was in a meditative state, just keeping my eyes closed, but being mentally aware. And then, boom, I saw in my vision myself, that I was standing and watching myself, and I was like, illuminated, like a light was on me, and I was looking at it, just trying to study. And what is this? The person, myself, was smiling back at me. My mouth was closed, but I was smiling, and I I had a very pleasant persona, and it didn't look like I had. I don't know whether, like I just noticed that a lot of skin was showing, like the top part of my chest, my arms, my hair was real messy. How it was, you know, it looked like probably what I looked like in bed, you know. And I said to myself, "That's me." And it looked 3 dimensional. Um, and what I thought was interesting, that it like a light was shine on me, but the room itself that I was in at the time was very overcast. Was dark. The room. I mean, very, very dim lighting. So what I was seeing was beyond what the actual condition was of the room. But I saw myself. So here, this YouTuber. I'm just watching her video now. It was a live stream, and she was sharing. We have to start sharing, so you don't feel alone, because some of these things you might think you're going crazy, or hey, why with this meditation, how could you see yourself? And the thing, like me in the living room, it was like something like a TV screen, but I'm actually watching myself doing something. So what is this reality all about, guys? What is it really all about? Was the thing that I saw in the living room, was this something of to be a future event? I don't remember what I was wearing, but just wearing casual clothes. And then the thing with me in my bedrooms, the thing standing right by me, looking at me, that one looked like now, like like it was a live thing, a live vision, like it's there, it's something present, because it looked just like me. I said, wow, that had even the lines on my face, the same one, everything it looked very modern, like the now. So I wonder whether it's my so-called higher self, whatever, but it was something. That was the first time something like that happened, and only time that happened. The vision of the like now, like you're looking at yourself in a mirror. So I think we live in a world that is, they're not telling us something. We're not really being informed, but some of us are becoming wise to it, and I think Hollywood is really, it could be different factions who are in Hollywood. Some maybe are your friends, some really your enemy. But something's going on, and I'm perceiving that somebody knows what's going on, and that's what Hollywood is about. Trying to make you believe things, or trying to make you aware what's going on. So either way, I'm hoping I'm able to really tie this all in, because, I want to talk about other things, and it's going to be very controversial. Yeah. So I don't know, as I go along with this audio, how much I want to share, because I know it can get me in trouble on YouTube. Well, anyway, let me just say what I got to say. What was that now? Yeah, I had a dream yesterday. And I noticed, folks, start noticing your dreams. Really start questioning everything in your dream life. Like before, I never thought you could really question about the things you dream about. It is what it is, but maybe not. Well, I had a dream, I had a dream about, I don't know whether I share who I had a dream about, because I'm kind of embarrassed. But it was a political figure. And I was holding this person's hand, and I felt like the sense of, oh, wow. I'm just thinking, boy, the things I'm thinking. Okay. Well, I'm starting to believe now that the dreams that you have, some of the dreams that you have, are projections, people, beings that could, when you're in your dream world, could do something to, make you see what you see. And they're orchestrating your dreams. And they enter your dreams because they want to do something to you in the astral world. Yeah, I kid you not. Yeah, I know some of you have heard of things like this. People, they're different dimensions. And that even in your sleep state, you really are, could be at a vulnerable state. That's why in some traditions, people might have certain things over their bed to promote nice dreams, like the dream catchers, the crystals. It's really to guard your mind while you sleep, because it could be hacked. And I'm seeing that the human body is a computer. It is a biocomputer. Okay? Yes, I believe that very strongly. It's evidence that we are a biocomputer. You talk to scientists. You talk to people who are, physicists. And they see that the body and the brain, it works like a computer. And remember this guy named Dr. Gates. the Dr. Gates, the physicist, not the one that is in the um, what do you call it? The African American Studies Department. Not that guy. There is another Dr. Gates, or Professor Gates, but this one's someone else. He's a physicist. His last name is Gates, and he studied certain things, and he started to see similarities that the universe, it's the universe, was built up like, he said something like with the internet. I'm not a computers person per se, but, computers, the software of a computer, there's the hardware, the actual physical computer, and then the software, the program. And he saw programs in the universe that it was the same setup as what's on the internet, how the internet is set up. And it was set up the same way. And that we're part of this computer system. So I believe with that information from scientists, and then this dream world, and as we all know, who people have computers, that it can get a virus, right? It can get infected by something, an alien, something that does not belong, and it could cause you havoc. And you have to constantly cleanse it out, get rid of it, use an antivirus. Well, so I was dreaming, and sometimes in my dream state, I could be thinking as what I'm watching. And so I saw this person that I thought this person that I knew, or I should say know of. And I was talking to them, I was all animated, I was holding a hand because I felt that I, trusted this person. And this person was walking. We were in an office space. And because I felt this so-called sense of trust in this person took advantage of that trust. And they said, oh, yeah, let's come here, And I'm following this person. I think I was actually holding their hand and we're walking. And then it was, I know, a red flag hit me when it was like an awareness, like there's something danger. And it wanted me to go into this other room, but something just said to myself, don't go in there with that person. It was a guy. Don't go in there. Because I felt like if he opened that door and I walked in with him, baby, I would get violated. Something bad would happen to me. So I said, no, I'm not going to go in there. And I started to make a scene. And something in my mind, my conscious mind said, okay, because this person's supposed to be very well known. It was a public figure. And that if I said this person is going to try to sexually violate me, I would look like a crazy lady, because this is a well-known person, and this person is cuckoo. So I knew that was a possibility. I mean, all this is happening very quickly. I had to make a quick decision. So I said, so I made a scene, was yelling, trying to bring attention, because I didn't want to go in that room to alert those people who were nearby. And I played it off about something else. So if I blame something else for my behavior or why I was reacting, rather than reacting because, hey, this guy is trying to get me in a separate room to do something to me that would not be consensual. But if I said, hey, I'm just reacting this way because or something happened earlier about this other matter, had nothing to do with him, and blah blah. So I did that, and it worked for me because now the cat's not out the bag directly about him, but about something else, and he used the opposite. Oh yeah, okay, and then I was able to get out of the situation. But but what I really want to get at with this dream is that the person was disguised. Get this. This is the key thing. The person was disguising himself to look like this person that I know of. It's a public figure, a someone in government. But this person was short. Okay, the person was about like my height. And in reality, this person is over 6 feet. Okay, and the person's countenance, the expression had actually, when you look at it, it has like a slightly evil look to it, evil intent, sort of. But it's relying on me to that they look something like this other person, you know? It's trying to look like this other person. So, why? Because it's not that person, and that this, I believe, being is watching us, is aware of our thoughts, who we like or dislike in real life, who we trust or not trust in real life, and then it enters our dream, and it's always like you're aware. So I think it's a very deep, like a like you're not. I mean, you're asleep, but you're at a particular level, a bridge between, I think, a real dream life versus this phony dream that is really a projection, and they could make you think that there's somebody else that you know, that you trust, and they're short being. They're kind of short. Like I even remember someone trying to look like this famous singer who's now deceased. Yeah. And even when e- the person looked like they had this stupid wig on. I'll tell you who at least that person, the performer, Michael Jackson. Okay, this person is trying to look like Michael Jackson, and they have this stupid wig on. It looked like it was lopsided and something, and they're small figure, small body, small, like maybe 5 feet. Okay, that's real short, tiny body, and like trying to have a persona of Michael Jackson, the late singer, the mega star. And I said to myself in that dream, I said, you're not Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was tall. You're only about 5 feet or 4 feet something. And it looked very sad. So it's that same type of dream state of awareness. Like you have your consciousness, like you're looking and you can think like with your normal awake consciousness, but you're in a dream state. Well, I perceive that thing with Michael Jackson or now this, yesterday's dream with this politician, a very well-known person, that it is this being or this dimension is tapping into our consciousness, and they want to interact with us, and it's relying on you to be fooled to do something of a sexual nature with them. That is my theory, that it wants to do something. It cannot do anything to you in the natural state, but it energetically could do something to you in the dream state. People can do things in the astral realm energetically, and it knows that your boundaries, so it tries to manipulate you. Yeah, so this thing knows, it's conscious of what I'm interacting with in my day world, so to speak. What I watch on the internet, my views, my likes, dislikes, and it's relying on you to maybe compromise, ladies, or even gentlemen. Maybe you guys, maybe it's a lady that you like, and then in your dream world, this false dream world, the being wants you to wants you to get involved with them on an energy level through sexual activity. I know this sounds so crazy, so bizarre, but look, we both, we all dream. Ladies and gentlemen, start being aware about your dreams. You ever have a dream that you're with somebody, that you're doing something with somebody, but then you realize, hey, that's not so, so and so doesn't have these features, but it kind of looks like it. So it's relying on you to really, like, maybe certain expressions of the person. It's relying on you. It can only make themselves look only so much like this person. It's relying you to be fooled, but they're not that person. And they're deceiving you, and they're deceiving you through your most vulnerable time, your dream world. Because who really questions a dream? You're just living in it as if it's real. It's just a dream, right? Well, I think some dreams are not dreams but projections, and it's used to deceive you to do things of a particular nature. So, like in the movie The Matrix, you had you have these people who put you in a dream state, projection images. You interact as if it's real, and the whole point is to feed off of your energy. Energy is energy, and it's not just sexual energy, right? In the movie The Matrix, isn't that what was going on? Yes, it was going on, all right. So then I start thinking, like, how far is this thing really? How extensive is this? Look at the things that happen in your life. I look at my life, and I'm constantly bombarded by just things, themes that keep repeating itself. I said, why is this theme occurring? And the more I think, the more I'm believing that there is something imposing itself upon my reality, to mess with my mind, to to just what you would say to fuck with you. Excuse my French, but it's an accurate expression. That's why I use it. Yeah, something is trying to f with me. I think. Really, start you guys who are listening to this, my regular viewers. Don't you notice certain patterns that happen in your life? Certain men that are presented to you, certain women that might be presented to you, and this thing happens over and over again like a loop. How to break out of that matrix? Well, I'm gathering part of the way to get out of this matrix is awareness. Now, you cannot stop the dust from falling, so to speak, but you can dust on a regular basis. You can't stop something from happening, but you can clean it up. Think of it like that. So, in this case, with the dream that I had yesterday about this famous politician, that when you sense awareness that something's not right, leave. You say, no, I will not go in there. No, you have to oppose it and say no. And that's what I did. Okay? And just get out of it. Just get out of it. And I see sometimes that these type of dreams could be, some of them could look so much like a particular person. Yeah. But then there's something that comes out, that like something with their expression. And I said, something's not right with this. Use your senses. If something doesn't feel right, believe yourself. Don't believe what religion tells you. Use your common sense. Oh, just because so and so told you. So, no, use your wisdom. We all have it. You don't feel comfortable with somebody, you embrace that and say, no, thank you. Or maybe you need to be more forceful and say, no. Well, anyway, but yeah, I'm starting to see like patterns. And I had gotten this, yeah, I put in for getting copies of my school records. And it came in the mail. I saw it, I think it was 2 days ago it came in. And I was going through it. And, I encourage you all to do the same thing for your records. I live in New York City, and we have what they call the Board of Education. It's a big, big institution, big government agency. And Logic was telling me, like, information, like this is the information age, you better believe it. Information is priceless to some people. No matter what your age is, information could make or break you. Yeah? So, Logic also told me that because information is very important, especially with the, as I call the alphabet people, well, they have databases. And let's say you want to get a particular job. Let's say you want to get into government or some position like that. They want to know your records, your school records. They want to know everything about you and about your parents. So, what is the fundamental aspect of one's life in the, what do you call it, the industrialized nations? It's your education. Yeah. Your school records. And because this information is like gold, they have to store this information. Now, it was maybe 3 years ago. I went to my public my public elementary school, and I wanted to get a copy of my records. They said, "Oh, we only keep records for 10 years." And I'm not sure exactly whether she said that she destroys them or whatever. But either way, my logic after that says, no, initially I said, "Oh, I'm so disappointed. I can never get my records." And I said, "Wait a minute. Nothing is destroyed. Nothing." So I said, "Okay, we have a board of education." So something said, "Hey, maybe she doesn't have it there, but this valuable information has to be stored somewhere because it's the information age and they want information on you." And I'm also thinking your medical records have to be stored somewhere. I don't think they just destroy it. No, it's gold. Information is gold, and your medical records are gold to the highest bidder. Well, anyway, so I contacted, in writing, the Department of Education. And the Department of Education had said that, oh, okay, it was saying that you, okay, I'm getting distracted a little bit. Yeah, I wrote a letter to them, and I gave them my name and that I would like to get a copy of my school records. And then they wrote me back, and they said they needed proof of who I was. So I sent my ID and other information that they requested. And then, but I wasn't. I got a response that, we're going to reopen your claim. Yeah, it's to the Freedom of Information. Yes, you have a right to your records, and that's how I did it. As when I wrote, I said, I'm doing a Freedom of Information Act, request for my school records from kindergarten to high school and any other information you have on me. Well, I got it. It was a holdup. Now that was in April, the response letter from them that they're going to reopen, and it's October now, so it's taking a while. So I think I telephoned, no response. I said, let me go down there in person, and so I did. Saw a lady. I brought a copy of the response letter from them that they reopened my case. So she scanned it in, and then she used her cell phone to take a copy of it. And I thanked her. And then the next day, I think I called. I said, just following up and just finding out, because I want to get the copy, but I haven't heard from the office, and I made the calls and no response. He says, "Oh yes, the department is open," and I got someone. They said they found your records, and that they're going to mail it to you. So I'm very happy that I received it, and also I learned, make sure when you look when documents are being sent to you, look on the back of that paper too. Yeah, luckily I did that. Like I first went through it one at a time, and just look on one side of the page. But then something said, "Hey, wait a minute. Let me see what's on the other side of this paper." I said, "Man, because this is very, really thin. It looked like just a few pages." And yeah, the data is data on the front and back of most of those pages, if not all of them. So I'm glad I did. I got information. Well, there's one particular information that stood out to me in trying to understand who I am, because this is all about my spiritual journey. And this spiritual journey, there's a lot of missing pieces. And in kindergarten, like I went to 2 kindergartens. This one particular school, then I was transferred out. Well, on your school records, with school records, they indicate the first day you enroll in the school and the day you are out of that school. It also has the number of days you attended and the number of absences.
I was surprised to discover that I was absent for 34 and a half days versus being present for 45 and a half days. Shocking to me.
Now, I was a very healthy child, very healthy child. I never had any major sicknesses or anything like that. You know, you get the little cold, you know, the stuffy nose or something, but never any major illness. Yeah, for 45 days absent. And then then let's see. Then it indicated I was transferred out to the other school that I stayed for since the 6th grade. And the kindergarten there, I remember upon coming into that class that I wasn't with the others. So it's really weird. Like, you know, you have a classroom and everyone's like part of the class. They had me on a separate table. I had my own table. It was a little round table. And I remember they had puzzles. You know, I was just to entertain myself while the classroom was being, being conducted. I remember looking at certain things in the room and I said, I don't know why I'm here. That's what I'm saying. I said, I don't know why I'm here. And I don't know why, I don't know what these things are. Now, I do remember the first kindergarten class. I don't remember me saying, I mean, I was part of the class. There was all these different desks and everybody's sitting. You know, I was part of the whole class structure. And I don't remember, I mean, I don't remember a lot about it, just little bits and pieces. But I was part of a class and I didn't have any bewilderment of what things were. But in this new school, I was like, why am I doing here? What am I doing here? What is this? What is this? I didn't know what certain objects were. It was like waking up from a stupor. I kid you not. And you know, like I've been following what they call the secret space program, the 20 in back program. Remember the person I interviewed, Tony Rodriguez, last year in 2018? And it was early in the year. And Tony Rodriguez mentioned about that he was kidnapped and they had drugged him and did horrific things to him. And then also related to that genre, what they call the MK Ultra program, that they were taking. You have people who post videos who claim or interview people who claim that they were part of experiments, mind experience, drug experiments, and they use children and they traumatize these kids. Some of them they sexualized. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going there. I'm going there. Again, this is about my spiritual journey. And like this other YouTuber who mentioned about the, what was that, having a vision and she saw herself, you know, things are related to each other, I think. And she felt it was important to share that. And here, if she didn't share that, I would have thought that what happened to me and my seeing myself in a vision, that, I'm the only one in the world. No. these things are happening, and I know I'm not alone. And I'm glad that YouTuber shared that, yes. So, yeah, people who share their stories that they went through experimentations, sexual traumatization, just weird things. And I'm wondering whether something happened to me. Because it's that phase in my life, that one, I mean, I'm just a kid. Well, yeah, I'm 6 years old. Okay. This happened. I entered the school, according to the school records, I entered school in September of 68. We moved into our new home in 67. And I think almost a little over a year later, I entered kindergarten. And then the following year in 69, I entered this new school that's in my neighborhood. The first school I was bused to, like there's a thing called busing, and back in the 1960s to allow integration, like different, in particular black people to go to white schools and some of the whites to go to the black schools to try to make it equal, no segregation. Well, so I was part of that. They had bused me into this school. There was a lot of whites in the school. Again, I really didn't understand, my neighborhood that I lived in at that time in Queens, New York, whites were moving out. It was predominantly all black, but on my block, our next door neighbors, the neighbor to our right hand side and across the street were white, I remember. They were nice people. They were older, and they were moving. The neighborhood turned black, you know. Um, so either way, I'm sorry. um, so I was bused into this school, and then for whatever reason, I was transferred to this other school that I attended for 6 years. But like when I entered that school, it was just something. And I never had any real explanation on why I didn't know. I would say, boy, I don't know what that thing is. And it was a lot of anxiety. And there was one other person. It was this guy, this black fellow. Yeah, back then everybody there was black. It was a black school. It's a public school. I always went to public school. And it was 100% black at that time. And he's one of what you would call those troubled youths, those violent types. Yeah, I had to share a table with them. I was afraid of him. But usually it was just me. But I remember one day he was sitting there and he had threatened to hurt me. So I was afraid to go to school. Yeah, I remember that. I was very afraid, very, very frightened. But either way, start trusting your some of your thoughts. Okay? Start noticing. Start noticing certain things when you go through something. Start noticing why things happen. So I've always noticed is that pivotal point in that classroom setting. And I didn't understand what was so significant. Now, wouldn't it be significant that you don't know what things are, you don't know how to read or write, you don't know what certain things in the room are, because you missed 45 days of school. If you're not in any school, 45 days, 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 45 you have to also, brush up your skills and everything with reading and math and things like that. Again, this is kindergarten. And so there was no socialization at some point. Something happened. And then I was reintroduced to back to school, but in a different school. What happened? So this is the first time that I'm getting a getting data, things that are tangible that you have to question. So I called my mom. My mom, memory isn't what it used to be like. Well, no one's memory is like how it used to be. Yes, but especially hers at this time of her life. And she doesn't know. And so I'm really glad that I got this information, the paperwork from the school, because this is proof that there was a glitch, an interruption, and this thing it was like almost like I woke up from a dream, like amnesia. And I'm wondering what happened to me in those 45 days. What was the glitch? And I was trying to reason what was going on in my family's life at that time, because there was a family emergency. But that happened. It happened before. The family emergency happened during the summer when school's out. But this was during school, because the following school that I went to, transferred to, I started the regular time in September of the following year. So this is really something. This is really something. These are clues. And okay, there was something else that was problematic, and at this part, I was thinking about it yesterday, and I felt very edgy. And this is going to sound extremely, extremely biased. I don't know how far I'm going to go with it. I think the more pissed I get, the more revealing I will become in this. I'm a little afraid because I know that if I word it a certain way, that they'll pull the video, and I don't want that to happen. It's going to be perceived as biased. Well, also what I noticed when I was looking at my records, okay, um, I was I was looking at the names of the teachers. Yeah. Now, just two of my teachers really stand out in my mind. They were very dominant teachers. It was in my fourth grade teacher and my fifth grade teacher. Those are the two that really stand out. But I was looking at it, and okay, all the teachers, or at least the sounds of the names of these teachers were all Jewish, Jewish surnames. One was, one was Italian. I had one black teacher, but her name wasn't in it. So I was confused with that. Um, but either way, I was looking at the names and the names of these teachers. It's something you have more than one teacher. I think you have like the main teacher in elementary school, and then you might have other teachers that teach different topics. But all the names, or the majority of the names, through kindergarten to the sixth grade, they were Jewish. And I looked at that or I should say Ashkenazi names. Okay, let me just say that. They had Ashkenazi surnames. Yeah, they're all females but one male. And it just hit me. It just something. This was in the 1960s in New York City, and to be in a almost exclusively black school, and all the teachers are white and Ashkenazi, and only I had two black teachers in the same grade, in the fifth grade. One was a math teacher, and the other one just general studies. Yeah, yeah. But you're in a black school, but you have the mass majority of white female teachers. And these white teachers, Ashkenazi teachers, did not live in that neighborhood. Back in those days, in Queens, whites lived or were moving out to what they call the suburbs. They moved out in what we call Long Island, New York. Okay? It's outside of New York City. They lived in like Nassau County or Suffolk County, and they drove in or they took the train in. Okay? And they get these it's bothering me. I'm just going to say it bothers me. It bothers me because you're getting teachers who are not from that community, that neighborhood, to teach your children. So they're not going to be socially connected with you because they're not from that society, that community, that neighborhood. And they're employed in your neighborhood rather than employing the people who live there. That's my main issue. I don't have an issue about a race of a person. You are who you are. And if you're teaching, you're teaching. You're licensed teacher, you're licensed teacher. But the school, at least currently, the school is not really at par. It was known as like I had a neighbor, a black neighbor. We were about the same age at the time, and her mother purposely didn't send her to the school that I winded up going to, but a different school. Because the school I was to go to was considered a bad school. And this person did do well in school and is not a physician. Okay, so her mother made a good choice for her. Okay, so it's important what school you go to, and it's important to be proactive. You parents who have kids going to school, public school. Who is teaching your children? Now you just start to wonder now. Now this school was not, I mean, yes, in any school you could have some kids who are bright, but you're having people outside of your community teaching your kids, and your kids are not reading on grade level. Some of the kids were being abused. I remember in the first grade, it was first or kindergarten, the white teacher, now the girl, she wasn't talking anything like that, but she's just kind of wiggling in her seat a little bit, according to the teacher. The teacher yelled at her, forced her to sit in this other chair, and then she tied her up. You didn't misunderstand me. She was tied up by rope. And I'm not sure whether the teacher put a tape across her mouth also, and was yelling at the kid and had her to sit in the front of the classroom. That is abuse. It's physical abuse, mental abuse. Now, this was a white lady. Okay. And I'm not sure what her ethnicity. I forget the name of that teacher. Yeah, some of the names was hard to read. It was it was written in script, and it was it it was kind of hard to read because it's so small the lettering. Because it was a photocopy of the original, and it was just kind of hard to read. But a lot of those names, one thing I know definitive that they were all virtually all Caucasian, and the majority of the names that I read were all Ashkenazi names. And I started thinking, so you have people from another school, from another background, and they are teaching your children. And you notice that these predominantly black schools, American schools, they're not doing well, not doing well at all. And this same school is the blackest school in in all of New York City, according to their own website in Queens. I looked at it yesterday, either yesterday or the day before yesterday. This the school, because it has a website and data about the school. It had different breakdown, but it was 78% black or African American, uh, allegedly 2% white. Um, what else? And a smidget of Hispanic, and I think one Indian. Yeah. So it's statistically, but the area now is starting to slowly change a little bit. It's going through changes, ethnic changes. But when I was a little girl in that school, it was a black school, and so I really questioned why you have a school that's overwhelmingly black, but you have white teachers back then. Why? Then I asked myself, in the Ashkenazi schools slash Jewish schools, who is teaching their children? Who's in their classroom? And how well do they do? Those Jewish schools, Ashkenazi based schools, they're reading on grade level. They're great thinkers. And even when they move out from their schools, their Jewish schools, and let's say uh, um, they go to college, there's no like trauma. There's no, because it's a continuity. Because the colleges in New York City are run by people who have Ashkenazi surnames slash Jewish sounding surnames. So if you're a member of that group, the Jewish community or the Ashkenazi community, when you enter school, whether it's a private school or public school, you are being taught by people from your community, your Ashkenazi slash Jewish community. You learn, you are educated the way that that you are taught in your home, the methods. So it's nothing foreign to you. So you're able to excel. And when you excel, you get better grades and you have better job opportunities. You have better college opportunities. But if you're being taught by people who are not from your group and historically may have something against you, this is going to possibly reflect in outcome. What type of outcome am I talking about? Well, the type of outcome that I am talking about is the success level. How successful are black people in New York City? Ask yourself, how many of us, American born and raised, how many of us excel academically? How many of us get into top schools? How many of us aspire? Versus how many of us are going into prisons, jails? How many of us are in depression? How many of us are doing drugs and drinking? How many of us are promiscuous because you have no hope, so the only thing you are gravitated into is this lifestyle of debauchery? How many of us become violent? We're under their tutelage. When we go into, let's say, my going into high school, many of the teachers had Ashkenazi names. The principal had an Ashkenazi name. Junior high school, same thing. You had people Ashkenazi name. You had a little. I did have a one black female teacher, and I remember I had an art teacher who was black. And then in high school, I never had any black teacher. Never. I don't remember. So all of high school, which is very an important part of your development, high school, and none of them black. Junior high school, 2. Elementary school, 2, and that was it. All the others were white, and the majority of them had Ashkenazi names. You look at the Board of Ed, and who runs the Board of Ed? Even the person that I had to write to for the Board of Education as a contact person for my records was also someone with the Ashkenazi name. And you know what else? I see. I'm mentioning this because I'm mentioning that there are patterns I'm seeing that repeat itself. Now, I have a copy of my birth certificate. Yes, I do. I have it. And you know what else? The person that delivered me, at least signed the papers, also was a man, and he too had an Ashkenazi name. So in New York City, in my personal history, has a very, very strong Ashkenazi presence. Like they are overseers over my life. And you know what else now? The building that I live in, owned or at least managed by an Ashkenazi man. And you know, it's too close for comfort for me. Now, there are individuals of the Ashkenazi Jewish community who are beautiful, beautiful human beings. But I'm asking myself if this is the blackest school in New York City, still, the blackest school, why is it being controlled by people who are not looking like myself? How is it that in their institutions it is run by them? Some of their school it's exclusive. They have private schools for their own, and it's taught by their own. And in New York City, who becomes the doctors? Who becomes the lawyers? Who becomes the college officials? Who run the high schools? Who runs them? Who makes more money? Hello? Is this deliberate? Is this another form of us being modern slaves under them? I know that's very strong words. I know this is very strong. But hear me out. I was raised to think, okay, you gotta really understand where I'm coming from. So I was raised to think, let everybody be friends. I want friends. I love talking to people. I was very shy as a little girl. But my peers, I love to talk to them. I like that. And I'm told, everybody has to be friends with everybody. Let's everybody hold hands. All this black and white stuff, everybody, let's all be friends. But how come it's not happening with them and have everybody hold hands and stuff and run their institutions? How come, if you put it in reverse, how many of these schools, the Jewish schools, have black people as teachers in it? How many? With their Ashkenazi children. How many of them? How many? But in my school, they controlled it. How is that? You go to Israel, who are teaching their children? Are they people that look like me? Or are people that look something like me are being killed and beaten up? And I saw over YouTube that they are being beaten up, the blacks that live in Israel, even if they're Jews. You have what they call the Ethiopian Jews that live there, and they're being oppressed. It's a lot of crap going over there. Again, I've never been to that country, okay? So I don't have firsthand information because I've never physically been there. But you hear things, hear themes, that they're being disliked, black people being disliked there in Israel. They don't like black people, even though the land of Canaan was a black land. But now it's invaded by ASHKENAZI'S. They do well in their system. They flourish. They become scientists. Every imaginable occupation. And you notice that what else? They run Hollywood. If you look at the names of the people who own the studios in Hollywood, who runs them? So it seems like a program. That's what I'm getting at also with this, that there is a program being done upon me. The program of control. The program to, you only can go as far as I tell you how far you can go. What it makes me feel like. And remember the movie, this other movie called The Truman Show? What if this is a real thing? The Truman Show with Jim Carrey? That he was living his life, a goodly person, right? But he started noticing, he had these fears. These fears that made no sense to him. Remember, he had the fear of drowning, and well, they made sure in the Truman Show movie, they introduced certain traumas to him as a young child, and those traumas were designed to make him so fearful to want to leave, make it so afraid for him to want to explore. And I see parallels with what happened in that movie with my life. At least the constant themes. I said, why am I so acting this way? I don't understand. And that's so the movie The Truman Show. And then I watch movies about, the secret space program, the MK Ultra program that happened in America. And these things, at least the MK Ultra and some of the scientific devices, it's not science fiction. It's real. And they are patented, some of these instruments that they use to alter the way you think. So it's not made up, it's not science fiction. Hollywood is something that is to reveal reality. But you think because you're watching it on a screen that it's make believe. We were made to believe that. But what if it is actually the case? Okay? And I'm not just saying these things to be offensive. I have a right to express the things that happen to me. And I have a right to interpret the events that happen to me the way that I perceive it as. I'm not interpreting these things to just be malice in heart. I am expressing these things because I see patterns and things that don't add up. That from my birth, an Ashkenazi, from my education, from elementary school all the way through high school, and you know what else? Even through college, especially the colleges in New York City, the city-owned colleges. Okay, who runs them in New York City? How many black people are excelling in the universities here, or excel in the elementary school? Now, since now things are becoming more computerized, and you could, a lot of the elementary schools, they have a website, or you can see some of the statistics. You know who else I see? They had the scores, reading and math scores. Did you know that the black male scores the lowest? Okay, over the black female. But neither of them are, over half are not doing level 3 or 4. Level 3 or 4 is like satisfactory. You want at least to be 4, level 4. From a scale of 1 to 4, you want to be the 4. But the bulk is on level 1 and 2, which is not well. You want to at least be level 3 to 4. Okay, 3 or 4 is satisfactory. Why is that gender-wise? Why is the black male doing inferior? Don't you notice, like, also college level, they're virtually extinct in New York City, the black male. Okay? But you'll get some black females. You see that the black females that you see in the colleges, they're West Indian. They're blacks from the West Indies. But American blacks, American black females, maybe because of that school, I was in a school, one of the schools I was in Brooklyn. In that area in Brooklyn, half of the neighborhood is Ashkenazi, Orthodox, and the other half West Indian and American blacks and some Hispanics. See that? And in that school in Brooklyn, that college in Brooklyn, the Ashkenazis excel and got into programs, internships. And yes, maybe I could have done better. I gave it my all. I didn't get into the program. And so, again, you go so far and then boom. And I really thought, especially with my college. See, I had started college initially, when I directly when I left high school, and then I floundered around. I was very distracted. I had a lot of fears and a lot of concerns, and I was being messed over. And so I left college, and then I entered it back in again. Then I left, went back. Well, the last time I went back to school, I completed it. Yes, it took that last stint I was in for 8 years straight, completing my undergraduate and completing my master's program. Now, when I entered the master's program, I said, I have a lot of catching up to do. I said, I know I started off very poorly in my undergraduate, but I'm going to make sure I ace everything. And what I'm angry about is that the program that I was to enter, the internship, I thought it was going to be based on my master's program because I was an A student. It based on my undergraduate, even though I was in the master's program. And I did not qualify. And it also turned out that the program, the internship, they only pick people. Well, for you to go into that major I went into, for you to be employed in it, you need your licensing. And to do that, you have to qualify to get into the internship. I didn't qualify for the internship based on their information, it turned out, that I didn't know about. I thought, because I was in the master's program, that'd be my master's work, that major. No. And so I didn't get in. And then it turned out that when I graduated, they changed the criteria for those who want to enter into that market to get your first job in. They completely changed it. And so to even enter the field, even on a grade 1 level, you need your license. Yeah. So I really felt screwed. So what they're doing is they might take people with backgrounds like myself and allow them to go into the program knowing that they don't really qualify for the internships. They pay the money for the program. So they might successfully, complete the program. Oh, but you don't qualify for the internship, right? So all that money and time is wasted. So I'm not in the field anymore. I said, forget this. I even did try to, I started my own private business. And it was just, it just didn't pan out. It would be it was too expensive to just the overhead. And without getting a license, like to get a license in nutrition, like they do allow, you're able to do counseling, but not be a nutritionist in the program. Okay, it's a distinction. But many people, they want the licensed nutritionist, and you have to have the credentials. And with those credentials, if you want to take health insurance, you have to have a license to take health insurance. You have to. So a big clientele wouldn't be able to afford the going rate for what I wanted to offer. You see, so it wasn't a win-win situation. I said, let me go into some other area. But even that, I said, let me switch a career again. Let me start something on my own. Let me have a business in my home. And then when I was teaching myself a new skill and then setting up a website, and I wanted to sell it, there was another problem. I wanted to sell it on eBay. And they said, oh, well, they kept on pulling my website, but my website from eBay. My ability to sell on eBay. They said, I'm sorry, you can't sell it on eBay. I said, well, why? What happened? You need more photos of it. Yeah, I was going to go into the soap business. I taught myself how to make soap. And even that was being controlled. Now, I don't know who owns eBay. I should check that out. But they were getting weird and keep pulling it. And so I followed what they said. I said, okay, I don't know how many pictures of a bar of soap you need. So I put out even more and more. And then they did the same thing. They pulled it down again. So like Truman, my life is like a Truman show. Things that are going on behind the scenes to directly affect your outcome in life. And it's really bothering me. So life is really, really, it's not what you believe. You think some people get what they get because of they just studied hard? Or is it because of what they are or what group they are affiliated with? Look at Jeffrey Epstein. You think if he was someone like myself, a black person, he would have gotten that far? Why? Why is it that, okay, and Jeffrey Epstein is from New York City. And he belonged to his own network. He dealt with other people of his group. So why is he any different than any of the other people? I mean, yes, he did what he did, the type of things he did, but an institution is an institution. It doesn't matter what the product is. It's about the institution and who controls it. That is what I'm getting at. That is the essence of what I'm getting at. That you have members of a group who are controlling non-members, and the outcome of that non-member is greatly being affected. It's greatly being hurt. Everything. The laws that are being made, they're being made against you. Why? You've done them no harm historically. These are people that believe that they historically were harmed. Their Bible, what is the Bible? About people who were harmed by somebody else. The victimization of a group. But if you look closely, who really is the victim? Are they? Study the Old Testament. What happened? What really happened in Genesis, in the Old Testament? with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Were these victims or were these perpetrators then projected their will upon an innocent people? Who are those innocent people? People from Africa, Egyptians, Kemet. These were a black African group. The land of Canaan was a black group. Okay? I'm just trying to put the pieces together. So the early history of black people, which were the people from Canaan, which is now called Israel, black people who live in the United States, how did we get here? We got here by being kidnapped and forcibly moved here to the Americas. And we're still serving them. Who are the people that run the music industry? And then what's the now, at least in New York, the flavor? Everywhere I go now, they play African American music. The hip hop and that genre in shopping areas. You go to a public place, you go to a coffee house, you go to supermarket, regular everyday places in New York City. You have now that genre of music being played, black music. Okay, but who runs the music industry? Who's benefiting? So again, as I was going to say, when you're born, according to my case, an Ashkenazi, you go to elementary school, who are your teachers? Ashkenazi. You enter colleges, who are the professors? Who are the heads of the school? Ashkenazi. Who is your doctor? Ashkenazi. But who are theirs? Who are their teachers? Where do they fit in New York society or American society as a whole? Who's doing well? Who's not doing well? Okay? You get into, as I said, medical and science. Who's when you go and learn about what they call the mind control programs, who controls those systems? But people that have similar German/Ashkenazi names that do this brain studies. I'm not making it up. Just look. Look at the names. Who are the people in the ABC agencies? Especially the one that begins with the letter C, as in cat. I'm not even going to say the name out loud because it'll probably be flagged. Just go, just find out. What are their last names? What do they look like? Who started that agency? People from Germany, right? And who controls the school system? The same type of people. They just have a different religion, but it's the same type. So how am I going to tie this all in? Okay, and I mentioned earlier about the dream that I had and how how dreams could be tapped into, because there are devices, equipment that could um, interject brain waves to have you dream certain things, control what when you're asleep, and that these beings in these dreams can disguise themselves to look and act like somebody that they are not. This is also tying into the movie that came out in the 1980s called They Live, about people who live amongst the general population who, they look like the general population, but it turned out they were putting a illusion over your eyes. So you couldn't see them because they're distracting you, but all a while controlling you. They look like you, talk like you, but they're not you. And the outcome, because remember again, in that movie, They Live, there was a part in the movie, the guy was, this guy was applying for something. He didn't get the job, or he was looking for work. And the person he's talking to is one of those creatures that looked like him, talked like him, but it wasn't him. He was an alien. They work around you, they look like you, but they're running the show. And what is the outcome? Your destruction. It's like a terraforming against you. And you do like the Truman Show. Truman tried to do everything to get out of the trap of, to get out of the reality he was living in. He knew there was something more to life. And every time he did something, a phobia would pop out. People would something would happen. Everything. But see, this is a time for breakthrough. Because remember the end of the movie of the Truman Show. A big clue hit. This thing from the sky fell down. It was a light. A studio light that fell. And this was the beginning of him really awakening. And that's when he really started asking questions. And then me being in because I used to be a so-called Christian, but seeing things that didn't work for my behalf. Who created religion? But people who came from another place and imposed it upon you, imposed it upon women. Look at women globally. How do they compare with men economically? Well, you had a male creating this thing called religion or the Bible, imposing it on you, saying that you're dirty. Right? So you notice any group that is being targeted in the Bible are those who are oppressed. So women are targeted and are oppressed. Black people are targeted and are oppressed. Okay? So you have people, foreigner, being introduced to a society. They're taught to mix in with the general population, and then whammo, like the movie They Live that came out in the 1980s. But the awakening happens in the movie They Live. The glitch that happened there that started the real awakening were the glasses. You put on these sunglasses and it serves as a filter for you to see clearly. Look at again, when in that movie, when he saw clearly, he saw that these were creatures and that there were subliminals embedded in the written material. So when you look at a magazine or poster, it was a subliminal. And there are current subliminals everywhere, especially in New York City. Go to Times Square, billboards all over, flashing in your face. A lot of visual imagery all over Times Square. And I'm sure many of you have seen pictures of Times Square. You'll see it. It's everywhere. And who controls the area? Who controls it? Who controls New York City? The banks? The landlords? Who are the landlords? Who's my landlord? The same type of people. So it's a control system from the cradle, and I hope not to my grave, but it looks like it. And it angers me because it's a control system I didn't ask for. And I think you have people, I'm not saying all of them, you see, these creatures can embed in any and every ethnic / racial group, any religious group. But what current one are they using? That's what I'm talking about. And even they, within that community, the Ashkenazi community, are targeted too. They are forcing these women to have a whole bunch of kids, to live isolated, and just enforce so much junk on them. And as you see, they too are starting to wake up. You go on their videos that is uploaded on YouTube, and you see many of them are breaking away from that religion, the ultra orthodox religion. And there's a lot of sexual traumatization that is also happening to those people, male and female, that's happening in the Jewish Orthodox religion. See, it's no difference. It's not just them, because they too are being targeted, but the people that are living amongst them seem to be concentrated amongst them. That is causing the mainstream population harm. And on the surface, it looks innocent what's happening, but it's not innocent. Poverty is not innocent. Affecting someone's health, even when you go to the doctors, they control the medical field in New York City. You go see a doctor, you're going to usually see them. Now it's changing. Now you have a large Asian population that are in medicine now. But when I was growing up, most of my doctors, most of them, my current doctor, what I'm talking about, my current doctor is that. So they have control of all the records. Medical files. You don't think that some of them have meetings? Or when they go to their temple? You don't think that they have meetings? That the medical doctors, are the medical doctors having meetings in their church or their temple or synagogue and discuss, okay, how they're going to control medical fields? Or let's say you're the president of a college in New York City. You don't think that they have meetings? The music field, I'm sure they have meetings and they plan things and they plan how it's going to work out, how they're going to push the narrative. Right now, it's a red hot button, and the system, who's controlling the system, they want to cause havoc and race riots, and they primarily always target black people. I don't hear of any Chinese, Filipinos, East Indians, Pakistan people from Pakistan. You never hear about them rebelling or getting agitated or being shot and all this. You always see the same people. It's something about the black people in particular that are being used as tools to be a catalyst for war or chaos in America. So I'm saying to you folks that are listening, that got this far, I know I'm saying a lot. Don't fall for it, but expose them. Expose people who are doing deception upon you, who are controlling your community. You know what else? I even remember a relative of mine who um, who had a good job, was applying it for a co-op uh, near where the person lived. It was going to be their first place. And he was discouraged to move in. They kept saying like, oh, well, you need such and such to move in. So he'll present that document. Oh, well, you need this to move in. So he'll present that. He even got himself a lawyer. And that lawyer was playing games too. That lawyer was also a member of that people's religion. They were all Ashkenazis / Jews. And the Jewish lawyer that person had was in cahoots with the people of the board or whatever who runs that co-op. And it was exclusively Jewish, this building. And this person said something really targeted to his Jewish lawyer. And I guess it was very incriminating, and he didn't want to lose his license. And the goose was cooked. So they had allowed this person in the building. And once he gets in, eventually they all leave. Yeah. So they don't want you in their institutions. They don't want you to live in their buildings. They keep it exclusive. And I am perceiving if they have control over or own the buildings or control who could move in to neighborhoods, they also could control when you live in a poor neighborhood, black people, and are creating poverty for you, creating poor test scores in your community, not in theirs. See, it's not happening to them because they control the institutions. They get in and become people who make the laws, the regulations. They control the whole system, and they control you, black people in specific that I'm talking about, because I'm black. So I'm addressing this to black people, and I know it's not just happening to black people either. It's happening globally. Poverty is something that is created. See, we all as human beings, we don't need a lot to live, a little shelter, a little food, and to have friends and family, You don't really need a lot to live on. But what's being created is tension, fears, hatred, and it's deliberately being done upon you. And then many of these people control institutions, these we could not for profit, you know, those organizations that's supposed to be humanitarian in nature. I think those are all politics. It's again introduce a politics, but it's just a cover. It is just a cover, and it's to take your money. You give your money who you want to give to, but just be aware. Just be aware what's going on. Look at the names of the people who control them. Who gets on their boards? Who controls it? Start looking at your child. How's your child's health? Why is it that your children gets asthma, but not theirs? Right? Why don't they get asthma? Why? Who's creating the vaccines? Why are they imposing you? Look, start now. This is going to be like flu season coming up. Look at the posters, the advertisements on who they want to get the flu shots. Who? In New York City, they show elderly black people. Who's dying quicker? Why don't they have their own people on these posters? Because they don't want them to take the flu shot. But they're going to make sure black people get the flu shot. Who's getting the higher levels of autism but black males? Who's scoring the least? The least in elementary school. And again, I went to the blackest school in New York City, according to them, black men. Start asking yourself, what are their test scores like? Are they reading on level? What about their math level? Just look at their test scores and then look at the black people's test scores. Who controls black people in New York City? It ain't black people. So, this is all about waking up to be aware on the realities of what's going on in America. And when your dream starts to be infected and these false, what looks like false images to make someone look like someone who isn't them, to have you do something. These are just things being introduced to tap onto your energy. Look at certain these black neighborhoods. They're acting cuckoo and wild. Something could be used to target their neighborhoods that's causing the violence, the severe violence. Do you see violence happening in their Ashkenazi neighborhoods? You do not. You do not see rampages. You don't see it. Can it happen? Anything could happen. But who's being targeted? If all things being equal are equal, how come it's not equal for us and how come it's not equal for them? Why is it that they get the larger straw? Why, when you pick a straw, it's always the short one? Start asking yourself these questions. Start getting people that represent you in key positions. And if they're not in, start protesting. Ask how many black people are teaching their Jewish/Ashkenazi children, and it's 0. And then compare their grades to your grades. Who created those IQ tests? Not us. Who does well? Who does well on them, and who does not? This is another indication of trying to do mental warfare against you to keep you oppressed. And don't fall for now the media want to now introduce all these new biracial people or biracial new relationships. This is a smoke screen to get you to think that the time of racism is over. No, it's not over. It's just begun. They're just changing strategies. Be aware. Love your family. Take care of your health to the best ability that you can. And keep your eyes open and watch what they do and what their outcome is. Their outcomes is always on top and yours on the bottom. This has to stop. Stop it, because you are being observed now. People now are waking up. People now are getting their spiritual sunglasses on. People now are meditating and are able to tap into different realms and to perceive glitches, like this YouTuber I mentioned earlier, when she saw herself. This is a glitch. This is a matrix system. And people are now discovering what you think is real is not. So I thank you, folks. I thank you for listening. I hope some of you have listened to this time. Yes, this is the time for all of us waking up, no matter what your race is. And no, this is not an anti-Jewish video, because many of these Jewish people are victims. But you just got to see who's controlling the system and why the disparities. I'm exposing disparities. I want freedom for all races, religions, nationalities. This is a video about true love, because true love does not oppress others. True love doesn't lie to other people. Yes. So I hope you enjoyed this audio file and that you're able to share it with like-minded people. And you could subscribe to my channel, Spirit Journey. And if you like this content and want more of it, please consider to donate to my PayPal Me account. Just go to my channel, Spirit Journey, and the top banner on the channel, you see a button that you could click on, a PayPal Me link. Click on it, follow the prompts. Any amount that you wish or desire will be appreciated. I thank you in advance. So stay awake, stay healthy, and stay sound mind. This ride is just the beginning, but it's okay. Okay? I love you all. Peace and love and blessings to the listener of this tape. Bye-bye.